Are you saying that we don't need to make a day and, glorify it?
So exactly, glorification is the word, because the closest of my 3am people are mix of men and women. So when you're celebrating a woman, are you trying to ignore completely the other gender that has been like the spine or the support system or whatsoever, So I don't want to be put on a pedestal on one day and be glorified because I am who I am, not because of the gender. It is a tribe that makes you. So I want to be celebrating each and every person who sort of come together to make me feel proud of where I am and who I am.
Women's Day essentially also is a day when a lot of your women who are struggling, then tier 3, tier 4 cities, like maybe your house help or something, is glorification to an extent because, we defy everything of like, oh, this is, this is another, marketing gimmick or something. But I feel like it does hold a lot of importance in terms of women who are like in tier 3 cities, tier 4 cities. They feel special because nobody shows them gratitude on a daily basis, right? It's only when this Mother's Day or Women's Day, like maybe we are already empowered, right? Like, but look at women who have no access to information, right? Like, who are not coming from a space of privilege. I'm sure like Women's Day make a lot of sense, in that space.
It's not about you as an individual, but when you do something, it snowballs into a bigger result. So when you are making noise about Women's Day or making some campaigns and picking up different topics as a girl to a woman suffer with, also just celebrating women on a Women's Day is able to bring joy to other women as well. Women's Day should not be boiling down only to a WhatsApp message or cheering for a woman on a particular day and yay, woohoo, and then the next day nothing. You bring flowers one day and next day you beat the shit out of that woman is not what actual women empowerment is, what we're trying to convey.
Absolutely. All right, 8th of March, 8th Changemaker of Bangalore. And we have 3 sitting amongst us right now. Dr. Priyanka Thaker and Surabhi. We have 2 Priyankas in house today. And we are here to actually talk about the change that all of you are doing in your respective field. We want to talk to you about how does it feel to be in your field and making that change that all of you are making in your respective field, and what are the struggles, what are your stories, and we want to talk to the viewers here and tell them that you really started with one step, but really I don't want to put any word in your mouth. Really want to hear your story. So let me begin with the question, saying that Women's Day, when you receive this message in the morning and somebody wishes you happy Women's Day, I'm sure you would have received a lot of messages, right?
So if you know me and if you have access to my WhatsApp, that means you've not sent it. Because otherwise I'm going to whack the shit out of you. That is the worst day to send me Happy Women's Day. Also, the kind of people that I have in my life are celebrating each other and us, irrespective of the gender, caste, creed, color. We do that on a daily basis. So for me to just have that one day given, designated and given to women per se, it just doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't. Sure, if you want to do something above and beyond to what you always have been doing, fine. But other than that, yeah, Women's Day is just every damn day. And yeah.
So are you saying every day is Women's Day anyways, or are you saying that we don't need to make a day and glorify it?
So exactly, glorification is the word, because the closest of my 3am people are a mix of men and women. So when you're celebrating a woman, are you trying to ignore completely the other gender that has been like the spine or the support system or whatsoever, So I don't want to be put on a pedestal on one day, a particular day, and be glorified because I am not who I am today because of me. I am who I am not because of the gender. I am not who I am because of etc. etc. It is a tribe that makes you. So I want to be celebrating each and every person who has sort of come together to make me feel great and comfortable and proud of where I am and who I am. So,
Right.
so
Yeah, that's a quite a view as well. So Surabhi, I just want to, taking off from what Priyanka said, saying that what do you think? Is glorification of women for one day, is it an injustice to the entire community, or do you think there's a sector that probably needs some kind of an attention? I might be preempting the thought, but they're saying there are a lot of other places. I completely am with you, but I'm just trying to bring something more to the table by saying that, hey, there are inequalities that exist through the world, and sometimes it needs a special forum, special day, or special highlight to bring about the things that are not there. Keeping that premise in mind, Surabhi, do you have a contrarian view or kind of?
I think I would agree to an extent, like in terms of what you said. But I feel like, it's not a big deal, but coming from marketing background where, like, a lot of campaigns are designed around it, around Women's Day, and, they sort of like, we create awareness for different issues, right? Like, if you look at all our efforts are towards educating people, and also maybe you're talking from a space of sort of knowledge and privilege because you have access to things, right? But Women's Day essentially also is a day when a lot of your women who are struggling, they're in tier 3, tier 4 cities, like maybe your house help or something, right? Like we design some, like, you do something nice for them. It's Women's Day. A lot of companies come with a lot of new policies in terms of their employees. That one day at least, I feel like, it is glorification to an extent because, as a community, I feel like we defy everything of like, oh, this is, this is another, marketing gimmick or something. But I feel like it does hold a lot of importance in terms of women who are like in tier 3 cities, tier 4 cities. They feel special because nobody shows them gratitude on a daily basis, right? It's only when this Mother's Day or Women's Day, you actually, look at maybe there are a lot of educational programs, especially there are a lot of campaigns which are designed to, educate people about it, right? So that's what, I have also unlearned because I come from a communication background, so I immediately question everything, right? But the older I'm growing, I feel like, not everything is about, certain style of people. Like maybe we are already empowered, right? Like, but look at women who have no access to information, right? Like, look at like somebody, maybe your driver or like somebody, a house help, right? Men in that category, like, I remember my house help came to me and she's like, my husband gave me flowers. I was like, oh my God, we got like for Women's Day and all, right? So they are listening to radio, they are looking at reels, they are, watching campaigns or maybe ads, and they're also like unlearning that they need to treat women with respect, right? Now you can tell them that, you have to treat your daughters well, or you have to treat your maybe mom well, or maybe your wife well. Very few people do that. So these guys are like, will cut the short, right?
Yeah. The husband, you're listening to this, yeah? Yeah. I'll send you this. I'll send our husband the snippet.
Because of that.
But we get a lot of cases. See, like we also your, because I volunteered with UNICEF for a long time, right? So I've heard a lot of like, or I worked with a lot of NGOs, a lot of these abuse cases, or it, I don't need to name it, right? But I feel like on a day like this, people come together, at least for a day, they put in some time and effort to sort of read about it. There's so many brands which come up with beautiful campaigns in terms of, helping you unlearn or learn certain things, right? So I feel like it's not a bad idea at all. At the same time, I can see a lot of brands monetizing it a lot. That's something which needs to, sort of...
That's one side of it as well.
Yeah, it is one side of it as well. Maybe like it has become very, very commercial these days, right? But when I look at people who don't have a lot of access to, say, education, or, people who are not coming from a space of privilege, I'm sure like Women's Day make a lot of sense, in that space.
You got a very interesting point, Surabhi, and it kind of goes back to the history as well. Why actually this day came into existence was in 17th century, French women who were not equally paid, they brought out this movement saying that, hey, we do the same task that other men are doing in the factory and we're not getting similar paid. So there was a kind of a revolution that started, and that day when they started striking was celebrated as, was remembered as Women's Day, and it kind of, snowballed into a lot of things. I think the probably the start and the strata that you spoke about is.
And it's also, I mean, I'll tell you, just adding to it, right? I feel like maybe in last 10-15 years is when, women are seeing a lot of changes in workspaces or otherwise. You are a mother, you must be dealing with so much of judgment in society, or when you try and work in different spaces, right? And there's so many things which will be like, oh, you're a girl, maybe you can't do it, right? But this is not very old. Like, things have changed, recently. I mean, in my experience, I felt like now there's no judgment, but now I feel like I'm already at a space where I can command things, right? But when I was growing up, things were different. When you go to a college, you learn so many things, and you'll be like, okay, maybe sports is meant for like X
Boys.
gender. It's a thing in India, and I mean, I feel like in India, it still stays relevant because there are like so many cities where you go, and I'm not even talking about villages, right, where a girl is born, like it's like, now we have to look out for her, or maybe a certain kind of education, or will she be able to provide for herself, or you are taught these things that you have to get married to a certain family and all of that, right? Still not changed so much, right? So in that way, I feel like Women's Day makes a lot of difference, because that one day you at least remember things, and you'll be like, let's work towards it, right?
Yeah. I mean,
That's
Surabhi, I
my
think you brought up a
decision.
very interesting point of celebrating. So what we're doing here is, or what media also does, is celebrate women and their success, and try with the way the media is right now. Everyone watches everything. It's kind of, and if somebody who does not respect, for example, you brought a girl child thing, but if they see that women are being celebrated worldwide or around my town, around my city, and all that, perception might change step by step, but it's a way. And you also said, last 15 years you saw a lot of change. But there's legacies, there are so many fights, or I would say revolutions that have happened, and we're sitting on top of that on this table, having a discussion, which is kind of a privileged as well. So there's lot of things that have gone under this table before it. Picking up from there,
It's
Dr.
a very
Priyanka.
interesting perspective, actually, because when you ask me what Women's Day means to you, I said nothing, right? Because I don't want to glorify that one day and undermine the rest of the days that we women are trying to do so many things to establish ourselves in every sector. But then listening to her, it actually makes so much sense that it's not about you as an individual, but when you do something, it snowballs into a bigger result. So when you are making noise about Women's Day or making some campaigns and picking up different topics as a girl to a woman suffer with or are being discriminated with, and it is shown, and also just celebrating women on a Women's Day is able to bring joy to other women as well. So I think celebrating Women's Day, I think now my perspective has sort of like changed and opened up a lot more. Yes, it's important probably to celebrate these days for a bigger, for a bigger cause.
Absolutely. See, there's some girl watching this podcast there, watching you speak, Dr. Priyanka, right now, and suddenly thinking that I want to be her. I think it will snowball into something, and like I said, it's kind of one piece, one at a time. And just wanted to come back to a circle. Do you still think, but in a way, you brought a very interesting point. It's that, yes, it's not only about women, but it's about how the collaboration happens, how the society or the community comes together and works on it. It's not one's job to do it. You got a very interesting point, going there. But it's about picking up something and inspiring and making it making a story to showcase.
No, I now absolutely am a convert. But to an extent that whatever you said, the mere acknowledgement of the fact that we are underappreciated for 364 days around the year, just dedicating that one day. So I understand that it is for a larger cause, the way you've put it. But you also mentioned that it's also commercialized. So filtering it out to the extent that if you are sending a message across that you deserve this around the clock, throughout the year, but today we are going to make it extra special for you. also the kinds of messages that you're sending, etc., etc. But also, say for example, you mentioned that the help's husband gave her flowers. ठीक है? सिर्फ आज ही क्यों? प्यार तो प्यार है. So something that needs to be recurring throughout our year, our days, our lives, our hours. Sure. I mean, if the message is coming across from that place, then I'm ready to be a convert. I am
But also I think
100%
it's just
open
making a
to.
person feel special on that particular day, like how we celebrate birthday. We
Yeah.
are special all around the year, but that one day is our day. I think maybe in that perspective, but ultimately what my point when I say nothing is that Women's Day should not be boiling down only to a WhatsApp message or cheering for a woman on particular
Absolutely.
day and yay, woohoo, and then the next day nothing.
Yeah.
You bring flowers one day and next day you beat the shit out of that woman is not what actual women empowerment is, what we're trying to convey.
Absolutely. But from that point of view, from your journey, Dr. Priyanka, have you, I mean, in your journey, you've done so many things and for years together. Have you faced, a challenge, maybe early in we can go back to your childhood as well. It's not that, we need to talk about your career. Have you, as a woman, faced a certain challenge, discrimination, or something that made your resolve even stronger,
So actually I have not, I think, so I have another sister and a brother, so we're three of us. I don't think we were ever discriminated in a way like a girl child or a boy child. We were given equal opportunity.
You have a sibling as well.
Yes, I have two siblings. I have an older sister and a younger brother.
Right.
So we never felt that discrimination. In fact, sometimes I feel as girl children we were given more love. Yes, for sure. But I never felt that discrimination anywhere. And I think I was also very strong-headed that I never gave into that kind of discrimination, or maybe I just had a blindsided these kind of things. Like I never felt discriminated ever growing up with opportunities or otherwise. And when it comes to work, I started my own practice. Like I am my own boss. So I don't feel the discrimination there as well. In my workspace, it's very, very clear that this discrimination or pay parity never comes. So all of this is there. But sometimes you feel like, okay, there is a group event going on, like after a conference or something, but you can't be a part of that because it's very late, it's not safe, or what would other people think if you hang out beyond a certain point. That is still there. That safety concern is still there. That stigma is still there. Okay, so 10 of us went to the conference. There are like 6 guys and 4 girls. 6 guys can very comfortably carry on with the post-conference activities, while us, we still have to think, what will they think? Is
The
that-
judgment.
that
I have
judgment
to
is
add a
there.
lot to this. I have to add a lot to this, right? Because I feel like networking, right?
Hi,
Like,
you, I think,
yeah, which
sure.
is, I mean, you're a doctor, you're an artist, right? You're a creator and doing so many things, right? When at an event or post-event, when men go out and network and get a drink, right?
Yeah.
It's like work,
Yeah.
right? They're working, they're trying to build connections and they're doing like something, right? I feel like because I'm in this PR and I mean, majorly we have a lot of hospitality brands, right? When you go out as a girl, they'll be like, oh, she's going out after after work, she's hanging out with men. There's so much of judgment, right?
Yeah.
Or when maybe I go out, get a drink with someone, it's as simple as somebody else, like a guy meeting someone and, trying to have a good chat with somebody in your space from, opposite gender. There's nothing more to it, right? So I'll give you a simple example, like when I go for, my nightlife events, they'll be like, oh, you're here, you're by yourself. Where's the husband? I'll be like, you are at work, I am at work.
Yeah.
Both of us are at work,
This
right?
is what.
But nobody's asking you, where's your wife? I'm like,
Yeah.
this is work for me, right? This is
Absolutely.
work for me. And I'm pretty good at it. I'm not posting somebody else to get into my space, right?
Right.
So I was like, hey, listen, I mean, if this was, I was maybe, it was a Google meetup, or it was like, a corporate setup or something. It was a guy here, would you ask the same question? Like, oh, where's family? Oh, you're here alone.
Yeah.
Oh, don't get too drunk. Don't get too drunk. Like, I was like, dude, I know how to manage. This work for me. I've been doing it for 10 years. I've been in the space. I've been managing, I have been in this glamorous space. I know, boundaries. I know my space also, right? And I feel like people definitely, there's a mature crowd, who sort of understands that, you're trying, it's your work, right? But most of the time when women hit up somebody on work, they're like, oh, she's interested. I'm like, good, let's work.
Yeah.
Right, so that
Yeah.
is something.
Yeah.
And safety, as you said, safety is a huge game changer, right? Luckily, we're in Bangalore, which is much more safer. At least I have always felt very safe in Bangalore. But say when I'm in Delhi, by 10, they'll be like, my family will come back home. Where are you? Text me, are you around? Right? Are you safe or something, right? So I think if we have to grow as an economy and if we have to grow as individuals, I'll not say men or women here, right? You have to provide us like a much more safer atmosphere, right? By that I don't mean, no teasing is safer, right?
Yeah.
Let us feel safe, like in our own environment. We know how to, manage ourselves. Sometimes men are overprotective. You go to a bar or something, they'll always be around you.
Yeah, that's also
Handle
that other
ourselves.
side also is a problem.
Other side also, right? And we'll be like, we can handle ourselves. We know your intentions. We know, how to, what's good, what's bad, right? But sometimes you're overprotected, right? Like growing up, I was at least like, brought up in a very, very protective environment, right? You have to go with your brother, come back, or there's a guy going with you who's picking you up, who's dropping you, right? I was like, listen, I manage everything by myself. I have been the most responsible child. I have been traveling since I was maybe 10-year-old. So you telling me all of this, right? When I can navigate all of this by myself, rather than you telling rest of your people that, hey, listen, you need to be careful in terms of, how do you look at women per se, right? If I'm at a nightlife event, meaning like, I'm also networking like others. So maybe I'm having fun, does not matter, right? Why does it have to be all about a specific gender,
Absolutely.
right? Why is your intent work and my intent interest? This is something which I've been questioning, right? This has to change, and it's changing in maybe some ways, which is a good progress.
You brought a very good perspective, and Surabhi, you being in PR and you set up your own firm now, which is like amazing in Bangalore. You're a change maker there. Tell me one thing. I've observed. I'm a marketer as well.
Yeah.
So I've observed that women do amazing work when it comes to PR.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. I have not seen many men do it.
PR, yes.
I don't know why. I'm not going into wire of it and kind of thing. They do really amazing. I mean, guys might be hanging out a little later after your event is done, but I don't think so. They're doing any kind of a good PR. Otherwise, they would actually make good career out of it. Yeah. So coming to that, I mean, bringing that point across. What do you think about roles and gender? That's one point, and gender roles is a second point. I just want to bring it to the table as well. What are your views on it? And Priyanka, I would like to take your view here. We just dissected what Surabhi does, and trust me, I mean, at least in India or worldwide actually, at least in Southeast Asia, women do amazing work when it comes to PR. There might be few guys as well. So just driving a point saying that role and gender role. What are your thoughts on it?
I'm still unclear about the question.
So for example, men are supposed to
Be good, like men are supposed to be good engineers. Women
Men
are
are-
supposed to be good doctors. That we've grown up with that thought as
or,
well, right?
or,
Like,
or let's go it more deeper and make it very, very basic. Men are supposed to be the protectors, providers. Women are supposed to be the nurturers.
Right.
That is gender role. And role that is to gender, saying that, hey, nurses, PR, flight attendant, and so on and so forth are done well by women. And engineer, like you rightly said, or driver are supposed to be men. So these are roles and gender roles.
So
What are your thoughts on it?
If you take because we were talking about mythology in the beginning, if you take our history, the warriors were men. Now take it on a physique, the way men are built and the way women are built, we were bifurcated then and there as per our strength, as per our physical strength, which then biologically also transcended into us being, as you rightly said, nurturers or carriers of whatever. And men being fighters and protectors and hunters, and we were just probably gatherers, So I think it started from there, from one party being physically strong, the other party being biologically capable of breeding and taking the pool ahead. So it started from there, which also domesticated women in a certain way because men were always out there. Men were always doing things, be it in brawls or whatever, but they were always out there while we were domesticated to take care by default. So right from our emotional intelligence to our so right from our emotional intelligence to whatever the physical attributes and all of that was nurtured and honed in a way that put us into those two categories very clearly. Now, if you look at the current scenario,
Very interesting.
men are phenomenal cooks, but worldwide, your topmost chefs are in proportion. Men are more than women employees.
Right, you are right.
Wherein what we are looking at is that we are supposed to cook. 10th में आए नहीं कि रोटियां बेलनी सीखो क्यों? You know, it's something as simple as that. It's also years and years and years of conditioning. We were never allowed to ride larger vehicles because again, strength and look, and they were designed for a certain body type, and which is why again, engineering is all men. When it comes to ungodly hours, it's all men again because safety, security, like we are not able to take care of, we need to be taken care of because again, we coming back to we are nurturers, we are not fighters. So I think that somehow the biology and the mythology and the history has sort of put us into this place that we are.
So what I'm hearing, Priyanka, is that I think the conditions or the way things were then conditioned into roles and that carried on. It need not carry on now because the conditions are completely different. You know, I mean, for example, I mean, if now, if it comes to this, there's nobody going out with sword and fighting these days, right? So, I mean, you don't need men to do that anymore.
But say, for example, dance. Women were supposed to be better at dancing, but look at Shahid Kapoor for that matter.
Yeah.
He broke those barriers and boundaries by starting his career from there. You know, so when we were little, mum would ask my brother to probably do nothing, but ask me कि dance करके दिखा दो, गाना गा के दिखा दो. उसको कभी नहीं बोला.
Correct.
And now men are phenomenal dancers too. So it's just that shift in perspective that both genders can do anything and everything. There is a masculine side and there's a feminine side. Embrace it. Do whatever you want to in whatever field you want to. It's not that we can't. Also, I feel that it's at the end of the day question of intelligence and question of passion and perseverance. So
Correct.
even if it's something that's extremely taxing on the body, for heaven's sake, we birth a child out. I don't think anybody is capable of managing or handling or fathoming that kind of pain to be able to take that kind of pain. So it's just, she's mentioned unconditioning before, unlearning before. Everyone's capable of everything. It's just that opportunities are not given. Once that is put equally on the table, anybody who wants to take anything up is just going to ace it at
Absolutely.
the end of the day,
Absolutely.
irrespective of gender, irrespective
Is the
of
times have changed, but perceptions are taking longer to change. Is that? And you brought an interesting point of child, and we have somebody in the room who's handling profession, and they say children are a big responsibility for mother. And what do you think? What is being a mother and being such a amazing professional, and you run such an amazing podcast as well? How do you manage all this? Are you kind of I mean, sorry, I might be preempting, but I'm really proud, you know, to see your so many aspects.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
But some women might be offended with it, saying that, you know what, why are you so proud? You know, probably your husband is taking equal responsibilities. I don't know, but I want to hear from you.
See, if a woman is able to go, if a mother, let me put it that way, if a mother is able to go out and work, she has a village behind her, right? It's not possible for me to do what I'm doing without the support of my husband, my in-laws, to which I'm very, very grateful. I'm sitting here with you, my children are out of school, so they are with my in-laws, they are with my husband. So that is how we feel secure, okay, my children are in safe hands, and that's the only way a mother can function sane. Otherwise, you're all over the place. Even now, like after school, I have to keep checking, where are they? So even if you have nannies, even if you have it, nobody can replace a family member, and nobody can replace a mother, right? So it is very, very difficult, especially with 2 kids, young kids, it's very, very difficult. And if a woman is being given credit to for her work, if a mother is giving credit, give the credit to her family as well. Similarly, if a guy is being credited for his work, a married guy is being credited and is doing exceptionally well at his work, it is because of his wife or other family members who are helping him do what he is able to do peacefully and sanely. That's
Correct.
very, very important. So for me, like you said, the only way I'm able to do all of this is because, one, we manage our time very well, manage a schedule. We have a good understanding of who is to do what, when. So that is there. And again, coming back to the question of gender roles and, all of that discussion there. See, India has a very unique landscape of thing, right? But we have men who've been in very powerful positions for the very longest time as compared to the most even compared to United States, which is supposed to be the dream country, which has not seen any women in a strong political position as compared to India. We have so many strong women in leading political positions.
True.
And now with the changing perspective of women, with evolving perspective of women empowerment, there is a shift that is happening very fast when it comes to women. Like, we want to work, we want to take care of our home, children, all of that. So women are doing all of that. But there's a very slow change in men when it comes to nurturing perspective. Right? So here there are women who are empowering themselves, and there are few men and other supporting family members who are trying to empower this woman, and she's going there, studying very hard to get where she wants to, working very hard, taking care of the family, kids, all of that. And there's this guy who is working very hard to get where they are, and there are very few men who are also supporting their women at home. And this section of women who are supporting section of men who are supporting women at home are doing this because they've been fine-tuned by their mom or dad or at home. So it's been that key. They are the change makers. The parents are the change makers in guys who are able to show their nurturing aspect also, because
Right.
it doesn't come naturally to them.
True.
Trust me, for a dad, it doesn't come very natural like how it comes to a mom. It is something that they have to cultivate. It comes probably very later on, because many men say this, okay, when the child is 3 years old, I'll be pitching in more. Now is the time that you do. No, not at all. Now is the time where you also have to be there, because a mom is going through a roller coaster of emotions at that point, and we are not pros at this. Come on, we are not.
Yeah.
Though some of it comes naturally,
Right.
being a woman, it is not that you know how to raise a child from the time you're born.
Right.
And also, the way I thought a child should be raised is very different from the way my mother-in-law or this side of the family thinks a child should be raised. So there's a lot of conflict there. So we have to come to a mutual understanding. It is a very, 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 the most difficult thing to do is to come to a mutual ground and agree upon how we want to raise our kids. Because they're no more my child alone. They are the child of my in-laws, because they have equal or sometimes bigger role in shaping them up. So we have to come to a mutual understanding of what we want to do with this child give birth to. So when the guy's family is trying to say them, hey, listen, you have to be this nurturer from the day one, is when the guy will change the perspective also. Otherwise, if naturally the guys don't have this instinct, right? So
Correct.
it is that women are going like this, but the men, when it comes to nurturing, the pace has to be still picked up.
So there's to be more conditioning happening, and
more conditioning,
more
happening,
talks around it, probably.
more talk about. I think it's man empowerment. It should be called in raising a child. That's very, very, very important.
I'm with you. I'm a father, and I I really want to. Growing up, I was given how much leave did I get? I got 7 days of leave post pregnancy, and I was wondering why. Policies did change a little and all that, but it's not that fathers don't want to do that. It's just that my boss would call me immediately on the 8th day saying that, what are you doing? Mother's there.
It is not their role, it's not their job, or they're not needed, because it's the child is either sleeping or feeding. Why should...
Even the policies, right?
Yeah.
For example, I was asked on the 8th day, what are you doing back home? I did extend my leave, of course, but then there were pressures saying that, either just sit at home or start coming to work, So
Also, I think parenting is a constant learning, right? With many things in life, it is constant. You have to keep learning and evolving, even as a parent. Women is expected to learn and adapt much faster. This so you should know. This is something that should come naturally to you, but a guy is not seen in that perspective again. So there is definitely a disparity there. But I think it's the conditioning. It's not that they are doing it intentionally. They want to help, but probably that they don't know, or they think it is not their.
I think you brought a very interesting point of men empowerment. When you keep it for 19th of November, which is Men's Day, or same thing saying that we also brought very good thought saying that behind a woman there's a village, but there's also a thought which says that behind every successful man there's a woman.
Yes.
So this man only has a woman, and woman has village.
Women needs village. Women, even if you have a good
We'll keep it for Men's Day though.
husband, it's not enough. For men, probably a supporting wife is enough, but for women, she needs her village.
Because the man is not enough.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. We need our in-laws to be by us. We need our parents to be by us. We need our siblings. We need our girl gang. We need this whole village because it's we function very differently as compared to men. So we need this entire ecosystem to help us navigate through this parenting journey. And oh boy, we fall. We do a lot of mistakes. Nobody's perfect. I've done a lot of mistakes, but I think we are better with the second one as compared to, because that is the thing that our parents, that's why I said we need a village, because they are there to guide us, to tell us what's the right, what's wrong thing to do. And I think with my husband also, with the second baby, he's given more time as compared to the first, because then he's learned, okay, it's not just after 3 years, it is even from the time of birth, it's my role is there. So that learning has happened. So I think it is both women and men should be equally empowered.
The conditioning as well.
Yeah.
And
I think I took a lot of time.
that's okay. Has to, it is a perspective. It is the perspective that we strongly need, and a lot of women out there listening would need this perspective. It's not that
and they will also ask for it. It's not just that they know that if a woman in position and privilege also needs, because sometimes we just undermine that. Nahi, zaroot hi nahi hai hame. So this will also put it out there that everybody needs it. We are all the same.
Absolutely.
Also for women to ask for it. We don't ask for help. We're like, hum kar lenge. Nahi.
No.
Yeah.
We need them. We have to also extend that arm and say that we are in need. Help us. It just comes very difficult to a woman. I don't know, for some reason, to just extend that arm and say, help us.
How would you feel? I mean, you're in architecture, right?
I'm an architect.
You're an architect yourself.
Yeah.
So
I'm trained to be an architect.
Yes.
But I've never practiced.
You never practiced? And why? Of course, I'm not going to ask you why you didn't practice, but do you think that is, in the field there are more men than women?
Absolutely not.
No?
Absolutely not. Right now, the way the design industry is working, even if you look at 80-100, we had equal number of men and women. How design has embraced talent has got nothing to do with gender in today's context. And post-COVID, India has shifted in terms of art and design and interiors and architecture, be it product, anything and everything. Perspective has shifted enormously. Absolutely doesn't matter what your age is, whether you've had the training, whether you've spent 20 years in the industry. It's just a phenomenal idea that will sell, and that's about it, and it's going to be received well.
Yeah.
So, this is the perfect place. India is the perfect place for designers to be at the moment.
Wonderful. Good. Nice to hear that as well.
Yeah.
And Surabhi, coming to you while you're browsing your phone. Okay. Surabhi, coming to you. You're quite dynamic. You run this PR company. You also lead a women's group.
Yes.
Okay, and you might be hearing a lot of stories
I do.
across.
I do.
Tell us a little about it as well.
So basically, there's this initiative which I run with like a couple other very passionate girls in the space who like helping out women in business. So we hear a lot of interesting perspective in terms of access to knowledge, access to networking, maybe having time, as she said, like, if you're a mother, the perception which you need to break. Say if you're a young female founder, when you go for fundraise, right? What are the questions asked? What are the questions you have to answer versus what a man has to answer, right? Or when, say, maybe you're too young sometimes, and they'll be like, oh, are you serious about it or something? But if there's a lot of differences, and there's a lot of, and I'm not saying like it's not a supportive ecosystem, because I'm here because I feel like I have had wonderful colleagues and mentors, and I have always found mentorship amongst my clients, because I've been on my own for a very, very long time in terms of starting my own agency and everything, right? So a lot of learning and support which I get from the ecosystem. But I feel like, as she also mentioned, right, there's a lot of conditioning which men also go through, and obviously the entire ecosystem is so biased, and so are we. Like, I'm not saying women are not biased, even we are like extremely biased in so many
100%.
cases, right? So founder, like it's unbelievable to meet women in business who are in Bangalore who will be like, okay, I'm not able to do it because my husband does not allow, or my in-laws are not up to it, right? I have children, I'm like so guilty, right? Or from certain communities where like, my hours are not flexible, right? Or forget about all these structural issues, I'll say, right? Access to knowledge, access to information, fundraising wise, who should you reach out to, right? Do you have, now we have a lot of networking platforms, right? And this is what even we have built, right? Like, you want to understand marketing, you want to understand graphic designing, you want access to a network in terms of art, or you want to meet cool creators to promote your business, or you want access to, say, like, dermatologist or doctor or something, right? We provide that because each session has a different speaker, right? And so see, maybe all three of us in this room, we have been brought up in a very empowered setup, right? Like, for me, I think my brothers will feel like really bad because I've always had a lot of privilege, and I was only a girl child after like many years, so they feel like, listen, you should not talk about the male empowerment aspect because you got it all, and more because I have been traveling alone since I was in 5th grade, all over India in terms of, contests and something or the other, right? So I feel like I had this access, and I'm also very confident in terms of dealing with things on my own, or living on my own, or starting my life, in a different city entirely on my own, because of this freedom which especially my mom and dad were able to, offer, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of times, even though you are in a metro city, all these basic, women are struggling with basics, right? You do interact with top 1%, and you'll be like, no, this is something which must be happening 10 years back, right?
Right.
But I think changing perception, access to, tools and education, right network is still a challenge.
Yeah.
And this is what we try to bring in to this entire ecosystem in our own way. We're not saying like we are the experts here, but we'll be like, you want to understand anything, we are here to help you out, because women like venting, and women like talking, and women like a safer space, right? So we host these meetups for both men and women, but when it's all women, and you have been a part of one of these sessions, right? I feel it's very heart to heart. You feel that sisterhood. You can talk about many more things which you probably will not in a room full of when everyone's sitting, not because you're a man or something, because you're so scared of being perceived a certain way, right? Will I talk about this and be considered weak, or will I be judged that I'm not a good woman, like I'm not a good girl, so firstly, because society perceives me in a certain way, right? So we're trying to break that, and we're also trying to, one more thing is like, as you grow up, or like entire of your cinema, both Hollywood, Bollywood, where teaches us that, hey, 2 girls can't do tens, right? Like, they always be like, oh, like all these soaps and everything they show, like women always fighting, they're plotting against each other. When I was also like part of a PR firm which used to deal mostly with tech brands, and I felt like bias, like this gender bias was so stronger versus an agency where I just started, and it was much more holistic because they're mostly like women. But when we used to go for award functions, they'd be like, oh, look at this kitty club is coming, and all that, right? This tech agency comes, and when I was with this agency, which is mostly very tech savvy, and I was coming from a lifestyle background, right? It's not like I'm saying I'm the best, but I'll take some time to learn it, right? So this, maybe like, this person I was reporting into, he was like, yeah, just sit pretty, that's your job. Like, or he'll give me like roles like, sustainability, look at sustainability, look at, maybe welfare, leave tech to, a different, guys can manage tech and everything, right? So these are perception maybe he was brought up with. But I have also interacted with leaders who are men and who have also supported me, like, my POC at Dell was extremely supportive of my journey. He has like literally guided me so much in terms of, how to build an agency, and it was like, And back in the day, I was in my 20s, so it's like 5 years later when I meet you, I want you to come and tell me, listen, I've built something on my own, right? So there are also men around you who are also extremely supportive. There are also men because I feel like they go through their own struggles growing up. They are taught or brought up in a certain way.
Conditioned in a certain way.
Condition also like, oh, you be strong, or you know, this is how you are supposed to be as a man, right? Much more like macho, stronger, all of that, protective, right? So I think it's also, I mean, their own struggle. They also go through a lot of, I feel like, mental wellness issues which they can't talk about, which women should also be very supportive of, right? But as I'm like growing older, I feel like this entire ecosystem which we've created for women in business, so this entire sisterhood thing really helps. Like I've seen people coming to these meetups and working with each other. They're supporting each other either emotionally or, you know, if we had a founder who's running a fashion business, and next time I saw so many of, you know, these girls, they were her models, and, you know, we were always cheering each other up, right? And you also understand, like, in which stage of life you're at, right? Like, if Dr. Priyanka is married and, like, you know, she has kids, I'm always learning from you. Like, you are in that space, you're going out, you know, for site visits and everything, you will have your own struggles, right? So we're also learning from each other, and I feel like that is also extremely important, which back in the day, I felt like maybe my mom didn't have access to this. She had relatives and she has her own sisters or family extended. They were good, right? But they also know only like so much for you to learn from, right? And after that, you learn from like whatever, like. But women essentially didn't have an ecosystem beyond family back in the day. Right now, you have your girlfriends, you have, you know, your groups to network with, you know, both gender neutral plus women's group and all. So it's becoming like a much more supportive system, and women are coming out. Hey, listen, I want to get a drink maybe. I want to go play that sport. I need my free time. So I feel like also learning to, you know, you're taught, right? At least, I mean, I'll always tell you from my mom's perspective, because I will be like, you do, like, I don't believe in whatever she you know, believes in. She'll be like, no, we have to sacrifice. No, kids are coming home. She's never prioritized herself in her lifetime.
But she gave you all the freedom that you wanted.
Yeah, for me, both of them. Like, I feel like my dad is a very different person for her versus me, right? Because I had been given all the freedom in the world. And this is not like now, right? Like, ever since like maybe I was a 10-year-old, he was a very different human being with me. We have played sports together. Whatever I know in my life, he has taught me, right? And my mom in her own way, whatever she could, right? She has not let her experiences sort of like, you know, affect me, right? But when I go back, I feel like we as women don't ask enough, as you said, right? Like we don't ask for help. We're like, okay, we did recently, like in our women's meetup itself, right? Like we were talking about if you got a role, say in a country which you wished for, or you got that promotion you really wanted, right? How many of you will be like, okay, I'll just go for it, right? You'll think of so many things, world family thing, can I leave my you know, ecosystem behind her? But men were like, yes, we'll take it up. They're much more confident, because I feel like
the family will move with them and all that.
Family will always move with them. You don't have to, like, how many men will move cities? There are many who do move, but I'm not saying like, but moving cities or you know, settling to a new environment is a very woman's thing. But
it's like it's given. It's given that if you're getting married, you move to your husband's house or city. It is the woman who is it's just
making the compromises.
Making the compromise.
Also, like picking from what she's saying, you know, like women are being pitted against each other, and that's very unhealthy way of serving things to women, right? So Priyanka Chopra in an interview said it out so beautifully. I think she's a true feminist, phenomenal.
All Priyankas are, I think, phenomenal.
So she put it out so well that you know, because women have only so many opportunities, and everybody's competing against each other, elbowing each other to get that few opportunities that are there for us. And also there is some men taking the decision as in who is to be put in that particular spot. So that is why women are always insecure with each other. But I think times are now changing because more women are coming into the workforce, because more women are finding opportunities for themselves. I think there's more security among women that is also being established. Like that's why sisterhood is becoming more. I think women supporting women is becoming increasingly, by each day I see that's happening more and more. And we are able to rely on women more than ever. And that's, I think if you find in your 30s, if you're able to find a bond with a woman and you're able to share everything so openly and candidly, I think that's the best bond that you can have.
Absolutely.
Which is
So
what
well.
we were also discussing in
Yeah.
the beginning. No, if we
Yeah.
found each other in our 30s as independent
Yeah.
women, that is going to last a lifetime.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Of course, your school friends and your college
Yeah.
friends and all of that, but you've outgrown them and
You've
become this
outgrown them.
person.
You've outgrown them. They're there. They always wish the best for you, best for each
Yeah.
other. But some things they might not get because you're in different profession.
Hmm.
You're having a very different challenge, like different challenges that you're facing on a day-to-day basis. Your mindset, your perspective has changed. So I think school, college friends are very dear and all of that. But the relationships that you build after you start working or after you've established a set personality, and if you're able to bond with somebody like that, it's
For life.
it's a different friendship.
By the way, the challenge is similar with the men as well. They
Yeah.
kind
Yeah,
of
I'm sure, I'm sure.
So kind of just bringing in the perspective as
So
well.
I feel like, I mean, the intent of obviously all of us coming together is not to like bash men, because obviously they also go through a lot, I feel, right? Like, conditioned to be always strong, conditioned to be always doing well, always getting that best job, always getting that promotion, right? Like, say if there's a group of in a team, like you have worked with a lot of corporate firms and all, if there's a team where like the man is not getting promoted and the woman is like, there is like, oh, you're reporting to a girl and all of that, right? All that is changing, right? I have met some amazing set of friends who are all guys, and they are like all love. So it's I mean my experience with them, and I've unlearned this because I moved here from another city, right? Or maybe back in the day my ecosystem was very different, right? Now when I meet these men, they're like, yeah, my boss is very chill, she's a girl and I learn from her. They go out, get drinks together, or when we hang out, they don't try to be overprotective, they don't try to intrude into your privacy and all of that, and they cheer you as much as you need, right? But let you be also like, you're an alpha or you're like a soft girl, whichever. It's just be you sort of, right? So I think men are also unlearning.
You were saying something, Priyanka, on the same
Yes,
point.
so no, what I was trying to say was that the question of emotional intelligence also comes because women talk.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that men don't, but when 5 dudes are sitting at a bar table, before that woman walks in, before that friend of theirs walks in, they're either talking about money, they're either talking about car, gadgets, or issues in life which are at a very superficial level. They are not emotionally rooted in how much money you're making, where are you traveling next, what are you buying, and what's the next big promotion or shift or funding or this and that. It's always the hustle because you've been trained to be the provider for some reason, right?
Yeah.
So even in your relationships, you're not talking about, you're also looking at a film critically from a very different perspective. But when women are talking about a film and those same men get on that table, it's a very different conversation. So it's again, men uplifting men is also something that is, you are there for each other in crisis.
Correct.
You're not uplifting each other. That's what we do.
Yeah.
It's again coming back to that intelligence quotient. So you do have friends, you do have your 3 a.m. people who you can call in the middle of the night and say, dude, I'm in a soup and I need to get they'll move a dead body for you.
Right.
But are they going to, after, because we women are gonna put each other in their places by saying you shouldn't have killed in the first place. That is a conversation that you guys are not gonna have. You'll probably smoke it off, go to each other's homes and just end it there. We've moved the dead body, it is it for us. But that's where I think it's ulta.
Yeah.
Women do uplift women.
Yeah.
You guys just are
Yeah, but again,
we are walking each other home. You guys are just walking.
exactly the conditioning, right? Like Surabhi brought the
Yeah.
point saying that you're brought up to be strong.
Brought up to be strong.
You're brought up to be
seen.
discussing technical things. You're brought up to be reading the newspaper.
Yeah.
Saying that the questions asked to a guy by family members, friends, and all that are completely different. What are you doing?
But no, also this
How much
kitty
are you
party-
earning?
This kitty party thing also comes from there because we actually talk. You're not capable of that because you've taken 30 years to become. this
Because we were
person.
only having that
Yeah.
conversation.
So if you think that this is gossip, it actually ain't. It's not. So which is why that word just it bothers me and how like kitty.
It's not. Listen.
No other animal could suffice.
Listen, it's not.
Not a kitty. It was just like horrendous.
The kitty heard Priyanka a lot.
The association with the creature is like kitty.
But I feel like I have never taken any of these personally. I will, you do your thing and some people just acknowledge.
Yeah.
But I do feel it things, as I said earlier, also things have changed for us because all of us are running our own businesses. We are making good money. We have access to I mean, we are financially empowered, right? But this chat would have been very different if you were talking to girls who are still dependent on husbands.
What I think
or
also,
families.
Surabhi, is on this table one thing is common, that the way you were conditioned, your parents, or this is something that's very common, that the raising up that had happened.
I would like to just agree here.
Okay.
I've seen, so my parents are extremely supportive, but in a very different way. Like education was equal, so I have an older brother. Education was for both of us. All the arts and crafts were for both of us. But he could come home whenever and I could never go out. Something as simple as the first tattoo that I got, I had to wear those oversized shirts because I cannot show it to them. I had to do it first and then bear the brunt of that.
Which one was the first one?
The back one, which was
Okay.
very strategically placed because you can just wear like
Hide
high-collared
it.
shirts. So again, tehzeeb, tamiz, all of that was inculcated from the beginning. Now, interesting is they never said no. If I said that I want to do arts this summer, I was put in that art class. But what happened was that they didn't expect me to actually take a liking to it. They didn't think that this was a rebel child. They thought that he has turned out fine, she's going to follow the footsteps, abhi jo karna hai kara lo. But I always was, if you said no. So I was raised on no's. And what my brother did was, he by the book did whatever he did. With me, just because I've seen him do it and I'm seeing a very fine, ordinary existence. And I was like, he's already done it, might as well just do something else. So I became the rebel without a cause. And which became who I am today. If I would have adhered to everything that they would have said, he's a doctor, I would have become a pharmacist because they put me in a pharmacy school. My brother actually was the one who gave me $1,500 back in the day to fill that form because I was not getting my pocket money. So I have absolutely no training, no classes, no nothing. He paid because what he couldn't. So it's also how men work. It's very funny like that. What he couldn't, he provided for me. And then here is where I am at. But it's also like what my father was, he also picked up that he also took his years to warm up to the idea. But no is what we were raised on.
Correct.
Which was very interesting that when we say no in conversations that हमें करने ही नहीं दिया इसलिए हम कर नहीं पाए. अरे बहन ऐसा थोड़ी ना होता है. Did you even try?
Yeah, I think.
Did you even try?
you
Because
won't.
challenges, it's just about that one step. It's not an easy way. There is so much that you will have to go through, but sacrifice is not the way.
Correct.
You are not asking for permission. You also have equal rights as anybody on this planet, be it your mom, be it your dad, be it your brother, be it any other living creature that's associated with the family. You are not morally obligated to take that permission or listen to what is being asked of you.
So what I'm hearing is it's not only the society's responsibility to support and all that, it's also your individual responsibility to take that step.
Absolutely, yes.
If the conditions, for example, in other strata and all that, they might be crushed. But if you have you have to take it yourself.
Sir, everybody is crushed. Everybody who keeps listening to that no, it's even okay.
When I
don't
say
know
crushed
how
in a
this
literal
is-
way, very honestly, the other strata,
No. I will put this out. I don't know how this will come across, but say if I don't have the means and I'm crushed, I will also put it on my fate that I never had it and I couldn't. Now imagine someone with the means, with the education, with the money, with a great family, with a social standing, not being able to do it. It is heartbreaking. I don't think you can recover from that because they have nothing to lose. Here, someone who comes from that privilege seeing everybody else do it and you not even, it is no. It is very different. It is, we're talking about privilege in a very different light here.
Correct.
It is extremely difficult for a privileged person to,
You had a point to add there,
I think
Doctor.
privilege varies from one to the other. I think sometimes saying no in itself is a privilege. Not many women I have seen. So for me, I used to feel like, why can't you just say no? Like, this is not something that you like doing. Why can't you just say no to your mom or dad, whoever is asking you to? They just couldn't say no because they were scared of the repercussions. So I think saying no is also a privilege.
no.
And-
More than, I agree, it
Yeah.
is a privilege, but more than a privilege. So my father, when I first said no, I was like, college se utha lenge. Okay. There is inherent fear is what we have been believed to adhere to, and that is how we are raised, because there is fear, there's repercussion to everything. But it's also that strength and resilience and not giving up. That 5 times I will stumble, I will I'm stumbling on my own accord and not because of someone else. That strength is what is the make or the break.
People don't get so many opportunities to stumble so
That
many
is the
times.
word.
Also, that's the fear. That's the fear. Because it's either with education or while choosing your life partner. These are the two instances where majorly women have to raise their voice and take some strong stand, right?
Wonderfully said.
So these are all not something that can keep happening on a day-to-day basis. Chalo, they're asking me they're saying, okay, do not wear jeans. Maybe I'll say no. Maybe I'll rebel. Maybe I'll do this. Maybe one fine day they will be okay. But these are the two decisions where you can't keep changing or can't keep going back. And sometimes there's a lot of fear associated to saying no of what happens. And then it's a time-bound thing also.
Correct.
And then you succumb to that pressure and you give in, and that's the end of their story. So saying no and being able to come out of that clutches is a privilege.
Yeah.
Not many women are.
Very well said.
Opportunity being the key word. That's a brilliant. That's I think the crux of it. That it's
It is. Yeah. Because when I was taking my post-graduation, for me it was dermatology always. Like once
Very focused. You knew what you wanted to do.
I was always like, I think from my house urgency time, there was a confusion during that period, like every other med student will have at that point, because we get exposure to every single field in medicine. Every month we go to different departments, so you get exposure. Every time you're in a department, you say, this is it, I love this, because I told you, it's that 1 month and you just tend to like that subject. But then for me, there was never a day where I liked any other subject other than dermatology. For me, it was always that. So there was a point where my dad was okay. My mom was more like, no, because back then when I took dermatology or cosmetology is not like what it is today. Let me tell you. It was not as fancy as this. You could not see so much money in this, or you could not see so much of work opportunities in this. So it was just any other regular field, and radiology, gynecology, pediatrics were the top most. Radiology being like it's premium there. So radiology was never my thing. So my mom is like, no, you have to become a gynecologist. It is the most safest and whatever. I said nothing doing, and I had the privilege to say no and to do what I wanted to do. And I saw some of my colleagues, fellow medical students, could not say no and were forced to take certain branches because that's what their parents thought was the right thing to do. And some of them have adapted and like, okay, whatever, it's nice, but some of them are miserable in that position. But it is the choice that they had to make at that point. So I see these girls and I feel it's a privilege.
Now I'll circle back to what you're saying is correct. I'll circle back to what she was saying in the beginning, that Women's Day needs to also be about that awareness. Right now, I think what all of us as women, men, throughout generations also need to, so if we are a change maker, it's also we have changed everything that has come before us and after us in terms of generations also. Right. So what we also need to do is create that awareness amongst people of just becoming self-aware.
Yeah.
That happiness above and beyond, and yourself above and beyond everybody else, and then strategically see how it's not about no, it's not about the opportunity, it's about finally that, okay, what is the problem? Money is the problem, this is the problem, time is the problem. Do you have to take care of loans? Do you have to support your parents? Do you have to support your younger sister? Do you have to get married for? So you have to find awareness primarily, and then the decision making. Serve yourself. You have to have your cup run full first before you serve someone else. If that is inculcated in us in the beginning, that I have my cup full, now I'll extend that happiness to you, and I'll extend whatever it is, bring the world down to your feet, but awareness here, and then can go wherever. It's going to bring about a change irrespective of gender and age.
Absolutely, irrespective of gender and age. I mean, take care of yourself and things, would take care of itself.
Just do what you feel like. Like you have a son, so you will know it, you're raising him well. I feel like just being the privilege to be yourself, as you said, right? As she was also mentioning, right? Dermatology, mostly girls, and maybe radiology and everything meant for boys. And I've seen it when I was studying also, like 12th, 10th, when you have to select your courses, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of men wanted arts, right? But nobody could, like a lot of my guy friends, they wanted to pursue arts, but they didn't, because the family is like,
absolutely, it goes the other way as well.
Right? You better take. But when I chose arts, all my teachers were like, you're a top grade student or something, why wouldn't you go for science, or like, why wouldn't you pick commerce? I was like, listen, I really like it. I mean, being good at everything is great, but this is what I feel like, I really love, right? So there were lesser questions asked, and versus my friends who were like guys. If they, I mean, we didn't have even one guy in our section. It was all girls, right? And but a lot of men, I mean, a lot of then boys now men maybe they wanted to pursue arts, right? But they couldn't because of social stigma. How can you say you're in 12th arts or you're in 11th arts, right? You can have like science.
The thing is, express yourself no matter what,
I
right?
will also add on to that. Though you've said it right, it is that the if top tier artists around the world, best-selling artists, highest-grossing artists, men, filmmakers in this country and everywhere else, men. Men are everywhere. It is irrespective of the field, be it arts or science or politics or economics, they are just everywhere. It is now that shift is happening. It's now that more girls, students you'd see in architecture, or you'd see.
Because of the hours and everything, right?
It's also
you can
labor,
be a
it's
chef
also- yeah.
only when you can work 24/7. Maybe you can be an artist because you have to choose freedom.
I'm
or
flying back to
something.
Kochi. I started at 4 in the morning. I'm flying back to Kochi and then flying to Ahmedabad. It's again odd hours. Also
Absolutely.
being on site, working with laborers. Nobody wants me to be an artist because they want me to be safe.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, my entire team is men. I don't have women in my team, right from my fabricators to artists. It's because of these hours.
Yeah.
And I have to make them understand. So there was this phenomenal girl that I really wanted as an assistant. And for me to say that, I don't like people. It's a very, very critical training and that you have to go to, because again, the job asks for it. She was phenomenal. Before we were ending the interview, she said that, could you just call my father and... I'm not fighting that battle for you, woman. Absolutely not. That one thing shifted my entire... That for you to go just that far, it's just you have to pick your phone up and call your own father instead of making me do it. If a woman is running a business, and imagine the entire team is men, what does
She
that
was
say
probably
about
seeking
you?
sisterhood.
नहीं sir, ऐसे नहीं आता है. If you spoon feed them in that, when they're at the cusp of it, this is it. That is something that they're always going to look into. She will always look at me as a mother
Or somebody else.
and not respect, and that comes. I don't want to mother you. You know, that's not my job. Also, so it's just.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, figuring out on your own also, right?
So women also don't want to do it. They want to sleep.
Yeah.
They want to be safe. They don't think they will be able to.
Yeah.
So
I think it's
Could be the
also
conditioning, right? Could be.
Conditioning and imposter syndrome as well, right? Like you feel like, okay, will I be good at this job or no? Am I good enough to?
Because
be
you've been
seen?
told that you
Been
might not
told,
be
yeah,
good.
Yeah, you've been told that.
no, it's
right?
also you are coming to me because you want to become like one of us or the other women that we're looking up to. But when it comes to the actual work,
Yeah.
it's also not that you are up for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
So the responsibility is yours as well. You know, so
Absolutely,
just
yes.
don't put it back on completely on society or you know. So
Yeah. I think you have to regardless of being a man or woman, there are privileges, some privileges, I'll say both ends, right? But you have to put in that work and you have to earn it for yourself, right? Like for me also growing up, a lot of I got a lot of freedom or whichever because I was good at studies, and my mom and dad, they knew she's intubating, she's doing this, she's doing that. Where could they say no, right? So now when I look back, right?
But it's both. It's you were good with what you were doing, and they could trust you. But it is also that they were also more secure in their parenting style, and they were also what's the right
Absolutely.
word, ahead of their times in certain.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So it goes both ways.
Yeah.
It
Absolutely.
definitely goes both ways. So even if I want my child to be giving all the freedom and liberty, but they should also live up to that expectations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, so that is very, very important, and it's not just with parents, even it's with husbands. So this is what I learned in my relationship is that if my husband is being insecure, it is not, you cannot always find fault with the men. It's not okay, they're being controlling, they are being insecure. No, they're probably something that you should change in yourself to make your man more secure, if at all. I'm saying if there, it goes both ways. It's not that if at all he says come back by, don't take a cab, after night. It's not controlling. I would disagree because my husband is very insecure if I take tabs post 9 because he is concerned about my safety. It's not about what I am doing wrong. It is because he's concerned of my safety. So I think somewhere we should also like understand both ways.
Absolutely.
What he's saying, I would say
No, but I think you've been very consistent with the support system. From beginning, you've been very consistent on your point on support system, and you've been also very consistent on you being the powerhouse yourself.
Hyper independence comes because of having to do things on your own continuously. Because you don't have that support system. You cannot go back on them for anything. Because if, say, I have to drink soup and eat bread today because I don't have the money to provide myself with that meal, I can't go back to them because they are going to say कि हमने तो बोला ही था आज मत कर. सुनना ही नहीं मुझे ना, मैं bread और soup कर लूँगी. But tomorrow I'm going to again wake up and show up and be at it. It's what I am afraid of is going to break me. But if you're okay with a bread and soup meal,
so revolution that I started, let me kind of, for the thing is the revolution that started on 17th century is still on, is what I, so still on. And what I also want to say is that, all of you are an amazing inspiration for people who are watching, so these kind of clarity of thoughts only come when you go through it. And all of you've kind of gone through it. The support system that you spoke about, the voice that you must have, you spoke about, the entire society or the strata that you spoke about. I think it's all of what you are doing here is putting the voice out and saying that, hey, revolution is still on. There are certain change that has to still come. I'm sure there is some inspiration that you have also drawn in when you were growing up, which kind of affected you in a way that you wanted to make a change as well.
I have like a huge unlearning here and I would like to share it. So like I've seen maybe a friend of mine like getting divorced. I was like, okay, why is she getting divorced? Everything looks normal, right? Because in my head I'm like, maybe husband has to be abusive or it has to literally be
work.
It doesn't work and it's normal, right?
Yeah,
like, it's
normal.
absolutely normal.
There's
So a
no
lot
doubt.
of women stay, I'm not saying only marriage, in maybe a lot of spaces where they're not safe, where they're not secure, where they're not getting enough freedom because they feel like they don't have a choice or they don't have an option
Or
because
the
financially they're not independent, or judgment is a huge thing they deal with. And I feel the biggest battle as a woman, no matter wherever you are today, and I've spoken I've worked with some of the best founders, female founders in the tech space, in medical space, in different spaces, right? But fighting that judgment is the biggest thing. It could come in from your house help to somebody who's staying like a 2 or 3 tier 4 city where they don't have even basics, forget about anything else, being empowered or something, right? To somebody who's extremely empowered, running a successful company or being a CEO or whatever, but still fearing judgment.
And it's also,
So
I will add
judgment
on
is
to
like-
that.
Yeah.
It's also not an easy walk because it's also a very lonely existence.
Yeah.
Because the society is conditioned to judge you. So when I left for college at 17 and I never came back, when I even came back, I decided to not live in my parents' house and have a separate house.
Yeah.
That itself was, so it's a very lonely walk because your parents, though they want to, in that moment, I knew in my heart, in their eyes, that they want to support me in that.
Yeah.
Society wouldn't let them.
But क्या सोचेंगे?
लोग क्या सोचेंगे? ठीक है, वो आज बोल पा रहे हैं कि this is what, but I knew it in my heart, that which is why you don't hold it within you. So it's also a very lonely walk, which I understand is not easy for everybody.
Holding on to your one word, which is log kya sochenge, I think the revolution actually that you were speaking about earlier on, we were talking about, is more about sochna. It's more about the perception that's happening. Initially, yes, there is a particular level that it happen as well, but since 17th century to now, I think the times have changed, the revolutions haven't. So the revolution is still on. As women, as how we exist as a society, the conditioning that is brought upon us. And again, I said this before as well, I'm saying it again as well, that as a change maker, the journeys that you have had, and I would still, I don't know if you'd agree with me or not, but you all three of you here, you sit on a very privileged chair of where you are.
But
And-
I want to add something, like maybe it looks like we're sitting on a privileged
As of
space,
now.
But it's also we've
No, we
worked-
have built this.
Yes.
So
That's what I meant. You know, as of now.
Of course it is.
As of now. That's what I'm saying.
No,
As of
now-
now.
we are
now
all
we are-
first generation entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
And we have worked to
Yeah.
be on this.
Can I add a
privileged
point to
chair.
that?
But also, yes, please. Yes, of course.
Yeah. So you have built it, but there are women before you
Yeah.
Yeah.
who have also the legacy.
Yeah.
They've been building it on.
Absolutely.
You know.
Yeah.
So I think that's exactly the point. Saying that, you know what, being in a current situation, current environment where the media that we are on to, this is going to go on YouTube. This is going to go on. Everyone is listening to that. The medium has changed. The conversations have changed, and hence this podcast that we are doing, we want to send out the message where it is most effective. It's been seen, circulated, shared.
I've been meaning to add this. I feel like everyone thinks like every girl is sort of like brought up in a way that somebody's going to bail you out. Like a Prince Charming will come and he'll rescue you, or things will change once you get married or find something. I mean, the upbringing is that somebody else will come and change your life. You'll be happy because someone else will make you happy. Maybe something significant will happen and things will completely change for you, right? But the biggest thing which all of us can learn, and I've learned it, I'm not saying I'm not trying to be preachy here, but I think if anyone who's listening, you have to change it, and you have to be responsible for your happiness. You have to be responsible for the career you're trying to build, right? Or the freedom which you want in your life, right? You have to earn it, and you have to take steps towards it, right?
Absolutely.
You can have a supportive ecosystem around you, but you have to take that leap of faith that I will go for this networking meeting, I will go work out, I will seek help from someone, or I will listen to this podcast, or
fail.
Yeah.
or I'll fail,
exactly.
right?
Exactly.
I'll do this, and I feel so this fear. I mean, for the longest time, I started on my own only a few years back, right? While I always knew I could do more beyond, being working with any firm and all, right? But this fear of failing, or, someday some magic will happen, or, nothing happens. You need to listen to yourself, or, maybe constantly educate yourself, right? And you need to take that leap of faith. You need to get out of that safe zone and take
What's
that
amazing that's come out of this discussion is that onus is also on yourself.
100%.
Yes.
100% onus is on yourself.
Yes. We can't keep complaining that we don't have opportunities, and we have to create our own opportunities.
Now tell us about your business.
I like in the bag.
Yeah. So what about it?
So being in the field as well. I mean, you started being in dermatology field when it wasn't really growing. You took that leap and said, I want to do it. Did you see the future or?
Hell no. Never thought this is what I would be doing one day. Social media was never a thing. And dermatology was more of clinical medicine, while now cosmetology is more about aesthetics, how you look and feel. It has taken also an equally big step in the last few years. So it was never like it was mostly dealing with skin diseases and conditions. There was very few treatments that in terms of cosmetology we were doing, and awareness was a big challenge again. So I think now things have changed so much. Never thought we would be doing this and this in front of camera for social media, but I think we have to move with the current times.
Absolutely.
I enjoy being on social media.
But tell me one thing, I mean, it might be slightly controversial as well, thing. How many men and how many women clients do you have in proportion?
The proportion is hugely it's still mostly a women centric field, but I would also say that the awareness in men is tremendously increasing, multifold day on day. We had this discussion in our podcast last time, but it is still, I think I would say about 70% is still women, 30% is men. But I think the percentages was like 10 and 90 a few years back to now 32. I think
So is there a pressure of looking good more on women than men?
Absolutely. I mean, see, we can't deny
Historically,
this.
I think.
We can't deny this. As much as we want to talk about equality, we can't run away from the facts, right? It is a spitting fact that yes, women are still more concerned, are subjected to look a certain way. Forget about feeling. Look a certain way. What they feel is very different, because a lot of times when women come to me to get some treatments done, it is not because they want to do it. It is because their husband or their boyfriend or their mom or friends or they made to feel that something about this is not good, so they want to change it. I'm talking about aesthetics. I'm not talking about the clinical part of it.
Yeah.
So women are made to feel a certain way, so which is why they want to. So the first thing I ask to my patients is, why do you want to get this procedure done? If it is, you look in the mirror, and if you feel something has to be changed, is when I will change it for you, or when you should change it for yourself. Not because XYZ is saying something, because when you don't do it for yourself, you are never going to be happy with the new look of yours also.
What a great point, doctor. I mean, as for somebody who's into a aesthetic and commercially business as well, to say something like that, is anti-business, and yet, and yet you put it out there saying that, hey, do it for yourself, is a commendable thought.
So the reason when I started my own practice is because I didn't want to compromise on certain ethics. Because if I work somewhere, most of the times, I'm not saying every hospital is that, but most of the places are revenue driven. You have targets, you have something to meet, and even if there's nothing, maybe just the treatment protocol is not sitting well with you. A doctor is setting a protocol, maybe it's not just sitting well with you. You have a different perspective. So for you to be able to, especially in my field, for you to be able to be that creative person, because when we do treatments like injectables or a filler, it is like a craftsman working on their craft, right? It is like you're carving a beautiful sculpture, and you can't take somebody's blueprint and do this. It has to be your own way of aesthetic. You should have your own aesthetic outlook to this client. You can't make everybody look the same. Everybody has a unique feature, you need to highlight it. So it's all art and science coming beautifully well together. So for me, I started my own space because I just wanted my freedom and my ethics to be intact. So when, yes, like you said, it is anti-business, but we are here for the long run.
Absolutely.
It's not just one patient or two patients we might lose, but it is the authenticity, it is the community, strong community you're building. Because I have the patients who come to me have been coming for years. Sometimes they might go because there are lesser prices somewhere else, but they always come back.
Nice. And men need to go as well, so you need to look, I mean, you can look beautiful and you can look good as well, so men, please go.
Your mother is not beautiful.
Yeah.
But I always say there are two things to skin, right? It is about skin health and there is skin aesthetics. Everybody, a newborn child to an old person, needs skin health to be in place. First, start off that with that basic. Uske upar, if you still want to look good and improve on your aesthetics, it's a different subject altogether.
Absolutely.
And when you do it. But basic skin health has to be maintained, because with the current pollution, lack of nutrition, the stress, I think everybody's skin overall health is taking a toll that reflects on your skin. So
You got 2 clients here the minute you walked in.
Sorry, discrimination, 3 clients.
Awareness is increasing tremendously and it's good space to be.
Good. Anyone else wants to talk about their business?
So I just
We've
want to
spoken.
add on. So the other thing is that most of the times now cosmetology or aesthetics is treated as vanity or just
Correct.
beauty, look superficial. Or why do you want to change a certain feature? Why do you want to do fillers? Why do you want to do this? Why can't you just be happy in your own
Natural
skin?
beauty.
It is their choice. Ultimately, whether they want to do or not wanting to do is their choice, firstly. But most important, it is not as superficial as one thinks. When we do a hair transplantation, the level of confidence and self-esteem boost that an individual gets is unmeasurable. So it is not, and sometimes it is as simple, oh, it's just acne. But people, when we treat their acne and give them a clearer skin, I have had the patients. There was a musician who stopped giving concerts because he was going bald. There was a college dropout just because there was too much of acne scarring. Can you believe this? Because when I started to see patients like this, I was also like, I didn't understand the impact, emotional impact these conditions had, largely till I started my practice. But when you do these things and when lives are transformed, I would only say that dermatology is not, or cosmetology is not that superficial as people think. It's not just, it is life transforming.
All right, thank you so much. The discussion have been life transforming as well, and you guys, and thank you, Changemakers, once again. The change that you've made in your own field and the change that you're making is ongoing. You're part of the revolution. The podcast is a part of the revolution as well, and I want to thank Majik House Podcast, for sponsoring this podcast, and bringing that medium out to people, recording this and editing it really well, and making it in a consumable form out to the world as well, to send your stories out in the world and inspire somebody. So thank you, Changemakers, for being here, inspiring me, yourself, each other, and people out there as well.
Different perspectives through this podcast. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to our stories.